Act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3. Personally, my favorite act. You know what I'm saying? There are a lot of good items that you can get in this early game of Act 1, okay? And by good items, what do we mean by that? Build enabling, okay? Useful to keep in your inventory at all times, or just easily missable items through either through a quest line that's hard to reach, or a hidden hatch or a hidden cave somewhere, okay? And by Act 1, this includes the base map that you see here, and of course, the Underdark as well, alright? Plus some, again, some hidden caves, or some hidden hatches, or some hidden areas in general that you can get some pretty useful stuff in, okay? So without further ado, I present to y'all the absolute best items to get in Act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3. To get the Everburn Blade right at the beginning of the game at the Nautiloid, this dude right here, the weapon he's holding is called the Everburn Blade, and it's honestly gonna be your best melee weapon until Act 2 because it just does pretty good damage. And to get this is actually pretty easy. So when you pick up Shadowheart on your team, make sure press K. I think that's the hotkey to pull up your spells. Make sure she has the command spell. And why do we do that? When it's her turn in this combat, we're going to move her up. We're going to save here because we might have to load up the game again. We're going to press command and we're going to use drop. And it has about a 55% chance of working, so that's why we save. A 55% chance of working is pretty damn good on a level 8 character from a level 1 character, by the way. So just take a couple tries, but you want to keep doing it. Let's go and keep trying. First try, let's go. And as you can see, when I press Alt, the blade is on the floor. Just pick it up, get out, click the button, and now you have a melee weapon that you can pretty much use for the whole of Act 1. You're not going to be replacing this for quite a while, so there you go. The Ring of Flinging, which is a ring made for throwing type of builds, like a Throw Barbarian, for example, can be found at the first vendor that you're probably going to run into in the game. It's at the Emerald Grove, right at the entrance. As soon as you do your first battle out of the Emerald Grove, boom, he's right here. His name is Aran. And there you have the Ring of Flinging. Very good. The Gloves of Missile Snaring can be found at the same exact vendor, and these gloves, they're fairly expensive for early game, but they are pretty good because if you're playing a Dex character, all range attacks early game will pretty much do no damage against you because they will get reduced because of these gloves. It's a pretty solid item here. The last item that I'd recommend off this vendor is the Rain Dancer, which is a quarterstaff. And the reason why I like this weapon is because it has the Create Water spell that you can refresh on a short rest. And if you don't know Create Water, it's pretty damn good. Not only early game for like dousing out fires or whatever, but water, it makes a enemy wet. Okay, it creates the wet condition, and when something is wet in this game, they take double damage from ice and lightning attacks, and there are a lot of ice and lightning attacks in this game, okay? And it actually makes for one of the most strongest just pure damage builds in the game, it being a Tempest Wizard Sorcerer build, which you're gonna probably see in this channel eventually. But yeah, this is the last item that I could recommend, the Rain Dancer at Aeron, the first vendor in the game. The next item that I'd recommend getting, which is pretty nearby, is Corellon's Grace. This gives a +1 bonus to unarmed attack rolls and damage. And of course, if you are a monk, you're probably not wearing armor, so they receive a +2 bonus to saving throws. So this is pretty nuts if you're a monk. Okay, and of course this can be found at the Auntie Ethel vendor in Emerald Grove, and if you know who Auntie Ethel actually is, but it is pretty much right across from Damon, the vendor that I just showed you. Auntie Ethel, she has the Corellon's Grace, probably your go-to monk item for the whole of Act 1, I would say. You'll be using this for quite a while. Another really good item that Auntie Ethel has is a stack of 3 Elixir of Hill Giant Strength. Just so you guys don't know, you can refresh vendors pretty easily in this game. All you gotta do is take a long rest. Take a long rest, and the vendors will refresh their potions, their scrolls, I believe, and I think that's about it. And of course, some of their mats, some of their materials that they have. So you can stack these up. And basically, if you have a character that depends on strength, you can dump strength if you want and just use these for the first half of the game, pretty much. She sells 3 of these. Every time you take a long rest, make sure you grab them. They're not that expensive. They're about 200, you know, so like 75 a pop. Really, really good. Or even less, like 50, 60 a pop. You know what I mean? So, Auntie Ethel, Elixir Hill Giants, super good early game. And they refresh after a long rest. She got 3 of these. The super early lightning weapons can be found, again, really early in Act 1. You have to complete a quest, and you can get either a trident that you can throw, a bow for your bowman, or a spell sparkler for your spellcaster. Okay, for me, I'm going to choose the bow because I have a bowman in my party, right? So I'm going to use that. And you can find this quest up here, okay? There's a starting zone. You go a little northwest in this building. You gotta save. The first thing, if you want to do this quest, don't take any long rest because they might die in the fire building, okay? Make sure you go in this building, save the people, accept the quest to go save the Duke of West of Ravengard or whatever the fuck, then you'll be rewarded with one of those lightning items, okay? For me, I chose a Jolt Shooter, and these items are really good. They're pretty good too. So the spell sparkler is the one that you guys saw that I used in my Eldritch Blast video, and I dual wielded that with the other lightning staff and made a super duper Eldritch Blast lightning build. So these are very, very strong, especially early. Unfortunately, they're not. They don't give like what. They're not enchanted, meaning they're not +1, +2. But the lightning charges does add a little bit of damage, and any little bit of damage, especially early, will help out in your playthrough. Also, when you complete this quest with the Zhentarims in the Secret Underground, you unlock different items in their store. And let me just show you a few of them. The Jolty Vest. This is works in tandem with the lightning weapon that you just got, so I would recommend buying this and giving this to your lightning weapon person. Okay, they also have the Giant Breaker here, another enchanted weapon, and this weapon hits hard enough to send your target reeling, and reeling gives them a penalty on attack rolls for every turn remaining. So they will get -2 attack rolls if you do land a hit with this Giant Breaker. Pretty good, right? And this is the weapon we just got. I sold it to them to get more money. Congrats to me. Okay. Also, the Titan String Bow. I'm actually going to buy this bow. I'm testing out a different type of bow build. You guys saw my dual crossbow builds. I'm going to test out a different build with this bow, using those strength elixirs plus your dex. And the reason why this bow I think is really, really good. One, it's +1 enchantment, and this weapon deals additional damage equal to your strength modifier. So normally bow users are dex. Let's assume you have 20 dex, and then let's assume you drink an elixir, those very common strength elixirs that I told you earlier in the video how easy those are to get. Now you have +5 strength, +5 dex, so you would do +5 per attack with this bow if your strength modifier. If you drank those strength elixirs. So I'm going to test out this bow. I'm going to buy right now. You know what I'm saying? What else does this vendor have? They got some Hail of Thorn gloves. I'm actually going to buy these too because this makes it really, really, really easy to steal stuff, and pickpocketing people in this game is OP as fuck. If you haven't tried pickpocketing, listen, stealth and pickpocketing are two things that if you haven't tried, I recommend making a rogue, getting expertise in sleight of hand and stealth, and doing that stuff because you can save so much money, you can get so much stuff for free, and it's crazy. So I'm gonna go and buy these because I know how powerful these are. You know what I mean? Anything else that this vendor has that is worth showing y'all? Just some more enchantment weapons, you know what I'm saying? Pretty good stuff over here. So yeah, if you want to finish this quest line, again, grab that caravan box at the Knoll Cave with a bunch of those gnolls. Grab it, do not open it, give it to the Zhentarim leader in this underground, and then they will give you the herald as a quest reward, and of course they will open up the shop to give you some more cool stuff. There you go. The Smuggler's Ring can be found right here. The Risen Road waypoint, again in Act 1. You're going to go down, a little bit down. You can see a little bit of river. Okay, it's actually pretty near where you could find Karlach as well. You know what I'm saying? And you find it off the skeleton. It's kind of hard to spot. You can't even see it if you press Alt. So you gotta like click around. But it's around this area. There's a skeleton guy here, just around a bush, and he's gonna have this ring. And this ring is amazing for your stealthy, sleight of hand, lockpicking, disarming trap character. You want to have this on them whenever you want to do that stuff, and again, it makes things like lockpicking and pickpocketing a lot easier and stealthing around. I definitely recommend getting this ring before you leave Act 1. The silver pendant can be found right here. Here's the roadside cliff. Here's Emerald Grove. Kind of go in the middle and go left. And you got to go up a cliff, upwards some ladders, okay? And it's on this skeleton, another skeleton that you can't really find by pressing Alt. You kind of have to just hover over it. Click on the skeleton. It has the silver pendant, which comes with the guidance cantrip. You should probably already have a person in the party that has guidance, because guidance is, I think it's #1 cantrip in the game, just because it gives you a 1d4 to every single ability check, and you can apply it all the time. You know what I'm saying? I like to put this on my thief. You know, the ring I showed you earlier that gives +2 stealth, +2 sleight of hand, plus those gloves of thievery that I showed you earlier as well at the Zhentarim hideout. You combine those gloves with that ring, with this pendant, you have an ultimate pickpocketer that can steal pretty much everything they want except for like super high value items. Okay, silver pendant, guidance, get it if you don't have it. The Lumps Warhorn is one of the cool items that you can get in Act 1, and basically you use it, and 3 big ass level 5-ish ogres come to help you during battle, and to also scam you out of your money, and maybe even try to kill you afterwards. Honestly, this Warhorn isn't really useful. What's really useful is the helmet that the one of the ogres is wearing, which we'll go over in a little bit as soon as I can get high enough level to defeat those ogres. But yeah, you can get this over at Blighted Village. Here's the waypoint. Go a little southwest at the house. Okay, you're gonna find some 3 big ass ogres, and you're gonna have your charisma character walk up and talk to them. You gotta make a couple checks. The DC is pretty high, so make sure you might want to have a bard in your party, or have a rogue with expertise and persuasion or something like that, or deception. You talk to them, you get the Warhorn, and you can call them during battle. I like to use this for the big battles in the game. But again, it's not really that useful because the ogres are scammers. So what I would do is I would use this horn, use the ogres for battle, and then immediately fight them afterwards, because you should be strong enough to be able to fight them at that point in the game. Okay, Lumps Warhorn, Blighted Village, bang bang. Bracers of Defense, you get a +2 to your AC as long as you're not wearing armor or holding a shield, so they're pretty perfect for a monk, at least until you get your offensive monk gloves. And you can find these, we're still at the Blighted Village. You can find these in the cellar, you know, so search around Blighted Village, try to find some hatches. Okay, I believe it is across from the ogre room. Okay, the house across from the ogres. Okay, you go in the house, you go down the hatch, keep exploring, pull down some levers or whatnot, and you will eventually find these bracers. And I'm definitely gonna put them on my monk right now as soon as I move on to the next item. The Necromancy of Thay is probably a book that you've ran into. We're in the same cellar that I just showed the Braces of Defense in. We're in the same cellar, and the Necromancy of Thay is a book that you probably have run across and don't know what to do with it. I'll explain a little later. Basically, you're gonna go to the well in Blighted Village, or however you want to enter the Spider Den. Spider Den is guarding a dark amethyst. I'll show it later in the video, but I'll just explain it right now. So you want to get that dark amethyst, you want to insert that item into the mouth of this book, you open it, you make some checks, and then you take this book all the way into Act 3, where you got to read one of the legendary books at Sorcerer's Sundries, which gives you the language of this book, and you unlock the language, you fully unlock the book. And this book, what does it reward you with? It rewards you with a pretty powerful summoning spell. It pretty much if I'm not mistaken, every long rest you can summon 4 ghouls to fight with you. It's at that thing. It's a level 5 conjuring spell, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and so if you're a summoner build, or you just want an extra spell, Does not cost a spell slot. It comes with the book. 4 ghouls to fight with you. I mean, it doesn't hurt. Then get this book. It can be found in the same cellar. Braces of Defense is right here. Just go left inside here. As you can see, there's a lot of traps that go along. So all you got to do is turn on turn-based mode, steal the book, and get the hell out before you start getting blasted with these firebolts. You know what I mean? But if you definitely want, those 4 ghouls are definitely not. Are not ones to play with. They're actually pretty useful in your party. So if you want to get that and want to make your summoner build even more beefy, Necromancy of Thay, Blighted Village basement. And again, I will mention later on where to get the Dark Amethyst, which is able to open this book. Okay. The Haste Helm is a helm that gives you momentum at the start of combat for 3 turns, and combat really only lasts for 3 turns anyway in this game, even in tactician mode if you know what you're doing. So pretty good helmet, and momentum pretty much just gives you more movement speed, okay, during that time, and it's a really good early helm to get. You can get it pretty much right off the bat, you know what I'm saying? Blighted Village is a place you would go pretty early, you know what I mean? And you get this, again, we're a Blighted Village still, a little top left. You've probably seen this big ass chest. You gotta do a little bit of lock picking. It'll be in here, bang. I like to put it on my melee boys, and for my melee boy, the punchy boy, he is a monk, so I'll put it on the melee boys. Okay, meet Grat the Trader, the first vendor that you should be running into at the Goblin camp. You can find it right here. Let me show you the map real quick. So here I am at the entrance of the Goblin camp. Here's Blighted Village. Go left, go up, and he is the first goblin that you should talk to. He is the vendor right here, and he sells some pretty notable stuff. And let me show y'all what he has. The stuff that I like. So first things first, he sells the Gloves of Archery, a very good early game bow user gloves. I'm gonna go ahead and buy it because I do have a bow user in my party. Bang bang. And he also sells Boots of Aid and Comfort. Pretty solid boots for your healer. There's a lot better boots that you'll be getting for your healer later, but if you need some extra boots, go ahead and buy these. You know what I'm saying? Another good item that he has is the Whispering Promise, which is pretty much a self-bless. I wouldn't really use this on a support character, but on like on a paladin, which is kind of your damage tank healer. This is perfect for them, at least early. You know what I'm saying? So pretty solid healing items there. And the last item that I want to show recognition to is the Returning Pike. If you guys have watched my Throwbarian video, you know that this is second best in slot when it comes to the Throw Barbarian build. You know what I'm saying? If you're not using the packed weapon or weapon bond feature in the game, you know, this along with one other weapon in the game has a special passive, which is Homing Weapon, where if you throw it, it returns back to you. There's only one other weapon like that in the game, and that weapon is in Act 3. But this weapon is in Act 1. So if you're doing the Throw Barbarian build, you can get this super duper early, and you can use it all the way up until Act 3. It's pretty solid, along with the other throwing items that you can get. Which again, you can get them all in Act 1 and Act 2. Really super strong build early and just throughout the game, really. So those are the items that I would recommend getting from this trader, and of course camp supplies when you need it. The Cap of Curing is a Bardic helmet, where if you inspire an ally using Bardic Inspiration, they also regain 1/6 hit points. So you can kind of do 2 in 1 here while inspiring someone during battle or out of battle. You can regain, you can heal them at the same time. Pretty solid early game bard hat. You can get this next to Alfira. Yes, you could find Alfira earlier than Act 2. And it's in the Emerald Grove. See over here, it's kind of easy to miss, you know, but you enter here to the Emerald Grove, you turn left, you turn right, up this hill, you'll find Alfira doing her little lute thing, trying to learn a song, and this chest over here, I do a little bit of lock picking, and then you open it up, and it'll be right there. Cap of Curing. The Sword of Justice, another pretty good early game choice, just in case you don't have the Everburn sword from the Nautiloid ship. It comes with Tears Protection, where you can concentrate and give anyone in your party a +2 to their AC, as long as you keep the weapon equipped, okay? And this Sword of Justice can be found at the Paladins on this dead boy over here. His name is Anders, okay? Where is it on the map? Here's the Risen Road waypoint, and here was Karlach, if you found Karlach. And of course, you can get this weapon two ways. You can either side with the paladins, go cut off Karlach's head, who's in my party right now, and they will reward you this weapon, or if you have a heart, and of course Karlach is probably the most awesome person in this game, you're probably going to not side with them and instead murder their bitch asses, and then you can get the weapon for yourselves. There you go, Sword of Justice. Roah Moonglow, this vendor you probably are familiar with, but you can actually interact with them before you reach Act 2 in Moonrise Towers, where you're still at the Goblin camp. Okay, let me show you where I am. So we're inside the Goblin camp. We turn left. We just dealt with Princess Gut. Okay, and this is her room right here, Princess Gut's room, and the vendor is just outside. She has a big ass bow on her back, and her name is Roah Moonglow, and she sells some pretty decent stuff. For example, this +1 blooded great axe, which is, of course, we're looking for +1 +2 weapons this early in the game, and when the wielder has 50 points or less, 50 HP percentage hit points or less, they deal an additional points of damage. Is kind of expensive too early in the game, and honestly there are much better weapons. You're better off using the blooded greatsword, or sorry, the Everburn sword, but if you're a great axe user, this is definitely the one that you want to turn to. And the next best one is an Underdark, which I'll show you guys later. What else does she got? She has a glaive, monster's glaive, which deals additional damage to monstrosity type foes. Again, there aren't that many monstrosity type foes in the game, but if you're looking for something like this, bang bang, here it is. She comes with a staff that you can use, another +1 staff. It comes with the Firebolt enchantment. A little bit too expensive, but again, it's here if you want it. Some cool spells. I'm gonna go ahead and buy Scroll of Fly. Scrolls of Flies are amazing. Invis potions are amazing. Let's see what else she got. Any cool little armors here? Not really. Nope. A little heavy crossbow, +1 bonus to initiative rolls, bow of awareness, not bad, pretty cheap as well. Okay, you can use this as a stat stick on one of your characters, and actually I might even do that myself. Okay. Hunter's Dagger, one of those assassin weapons. The target must succeed on a DC 13, which is not very high saving throw, but then they become ruptured, which means they take more damage when they move. Not bad if you're looking for that pure assassin build. You know what I'm saying? +1 weapons, anything cool out here? No. Some more spells, Roaring Thunder, some camp supplies. So yeah, Roah Moonglow, very good vendor. Again, you want to keep this vendor alive because they sell even more cool shit later in Act 2, and by now I should have probably released that video. So yeah, keep this vendor alive, Roah Moonglow at the Goblin camp. The Absolute's Warboard and the Absolute's Talisman. First of all, when you get into the Goblin camp and you interact with Priestess Gut, this goblin that we murdered over here, you want to make sure you actually get that brand, because not only does it help you make certain checks later in the game to get you into VIP stuff, but the Absolute brand is one of those permanent buffs in the game that certain items works with it, right? And much like this shield and this amulet. So the amulet, you get advantage on your death saving throws, and of course you receive aid, which this one only works on yourself, but still it's nice temporary hit points. And the shield, of course, you get a +1 to your saving throws, and you get the heroism spell, so it does not cost a spell slot. So I would normally put these items on my support character. Very good on support characters. It's pretty easy to get your support character all geared up pretty early, as you can see in this video so far. But yeah, so after Gut brands you with the thing, put it on your cleric. Take her to make sure she's alone, and beat her up, get the items, you know what I'm saying? And there you go. Amulet of Misty Step. You probably already know where to find this, but just in case you don't, this is a super good amulet. Misty Step, Dimension Door, anything for mobility in this game is super fucking useful, okay? And of course, Misty Step is very strong because it only costs a bonus action to use, alright? You can find this amulet at the Goblin camp, in the room right behind Priestess Gut, after you defeat Big Bertha here. It is in the chest in her room. And you get the chest, pick it up, and there you go. You have a super strong amulet until endgame, pretty much. The Helmet of Smiting. When you apply a condition with one of your smite spells, you gain temporary hit points equal to your charisma modifier. Now, of course, this is the go-to paladin early game helmet, okay? And by the way, it's super easy to apply a condition. Whenever you use one of your smite spells, you're probably already applying a condition. So if you got a paladin in the group, or you got a multi-class paladin, you know, for that divine smite, give it to this, give this to them, super solid, all right? And you can find this at the Underdark See this waypoint right here, Underdark Selûnite waypoint, Underdark Selûnite outpost. My bad. And of course, this is the entrance to the Underdark that is just below the Goblin camp. Again, it's connected to Priestess Gut Room. Do the little puzzle over there. Super easy puzzle to do, and you can find this helmet right here in this chest. This door has a pretty high DC though to open. It's like 20, so make sure you got a lock picker for this door. And this chest right here, pick up the helmet of Smiting for your paladin. The Luminous Armor, when the wearer deals radiant damage, they cause a radiant shockwave, and what radiant shockwave does, it applies radiating orb, and what radiating orb does, I gotta keep pressing T, it gives the enemy a debuff to their attack rolls per remaining turn, and Radiating Orb is one of the best debuffs in the game. You can pretty much keep stacking this. You can have an opponent have like -5 to their attack rolls, fucking crazy. And again, this is probably your cleric chest, super early game that you can get. We're in the same place, Underdark, Selûnite Outpost. Okay, you're gonna go here, you're gonna go near this wall, you gotta make a little perception check, so make sure someone's got perception on your team, and this wall's gonna be a fake wall. You go in here, disarm this chest, lockpick this chest, and then pick up the Luminous Armor for your cleric. Or whoever does radiant damage in your party, probably your paladin too. Crazy. Alright, so this next part is not an item, but it is another permanent buff that you can get. So you not only can get the absolute brand here, which is kind of a permanent buff, but you can also get something called Loviatar's Love, which pretty much gives you a bonus to your attack rolls and a bunch of stuff when you're low HP. Okay, it's a super good buff, and there's no reason not to have it. But the reason why I'm including in this video is because you got to make some checks with it in order to get this buff. And if you want it on a character that doesn't really have charisma, it's going to be kind of hard. But there is a way to make these checks a lot easier. And don't ask me why I know this. It is what it is. You have to be completely naked as the guy whips you. And there's no other way that I could say that sentence. I'm going to go and do this quickly because I don't want to get banned. So let's do that. And underwear off. Okay, cool. So I would talk to the guy. Bing, bing, boom. I'm doing Dark Urge, so do the Dark Urge stuff. Bang, bang, bang. And then, so he's gonna whip you. And you see this buff here, Ardent Apostle. This only appears if you're completely naked, and you get a +4 bonus to your performance and intimidation checks, which are the checks that you need to make to get this. And then we'll do a little fast forward here. And there you go. Loviatar's Love. Pain is the path to clarity. When you have 30% hit points or less, you gain a +2 to attack rolls and wisdom saving throws for 3 turns. So yeah, pretty good buff. There's no reason not to have it. And only bad thing, I don't even think it's a bad thing, but you gotta get a little naked, alright? Linebreaker Boots, Adrenaline Rush. Once per turn, when you dash, you gain Wrath for 2 turns. Wrath gives you just a nice little small bonus to your to damage with melee weapons. Okay, so you want to put this on your melee person. Pretty good early boots for damage, and you get this off of Beastmaster Zerk up here in the Goblin Camp Prison, where you're gonna help my man Halsin. What the fuck is his name? Halsin. Where the fuck is his ass? I just freed him. Oh, he's over here. There you go, Halsin. Okay, you can free him, you can kill him, whatever you want. But Beastmaster Zerk has these boots, and they're nice for melee people. Volo's Ersatz Eye. This is a passive, just like Loviatar's Love that I showed you earlier. It's one of those permanent passive buffs, and for this one, you're able to see invisibility, which is pretty damn good, because there are some points in the game where you are going to run into some invisible monsters, and if you don't have Fairy Fire or a way to see those invisible enemies, this comes super handy. And I'd recommend putting it on your melee character. Because they're the one getting into the thick of things. And you can get this one if you didn't know. So when you say Volo from the Goblin camp, he's going to go back to your camp and go back to the camp and talk to him. He's going to have a little exclamation point on him. He does run away after this though. So that's why he's not here currently, because I already have the eye. But he'll be in your camp after you free him from the Goblin camp. So after you free him from the cage, go back to your camp, talk to him, take a long rest. He'll be... talk to him again, and then have him basically do eye surgery on you, and it's gonna look like it's fucking you up, but actually it gives you a new eye, see invisibility. Another unfortunate thing is it does replace one of your eyes, so you don't, if you have some super cool eyes, it does replace it with his, pretty blank plain eye. But it is a really good buff to be able to see invisible monsters. Hellrider's Pride. Helm's protection. When you heal another creature, it gains resistance against bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage dealt by weapon attacks. And it also gives a +1 strength saving throws. So pretty much you get resistance to most physical damage in the game. These are probably going to be your best in slot as far as early game goes for healing gloves. I'm definitely going to put these on my support healer here. And you can get these off of completing the Investigate Kaga quest line. Okay. And that quest is definitely easily missable, so I'm going to go ahead and show y'all where to start the quest. So you're going to go over here, Emerald Grove, in this door, okay? You definitely have probably been in before. See these dead people on the ground? That's part of the quest, don't worry about that. You go in here, you got to turn left. Okay, so in there is where you talk to Nettie, where she tells you to go save Halsin. But this time you turn left, go over here. Go around. In this chest, it's called Kaga's chest, you're going to find a note in here, and that's going to start the quest. And that quest is going to lead you to go to, it's going to mark your map and lead you to the swamp near the hag. Let me show y'all. Alright, so the hag waypoint is right here, Riverside Tea House. You're going to go east. Okay, and you're probably going to travel over some water a little bit. Here's the pathway. Boom, boom, boom. Go down. You're going to have a little battle over here against some, just some nature tree stuff. Okay, and the quest marker is going to be around here. And then in this middle area, you're going to have to do probably a perception check, but there'll be a little tree branch like I told you earlier in the video when I showed you guys the sparky spark hands or whatever, those lightning charged gloves. The note can be found a little to the left of the chest inside of the tree. It's in the little tree bark. You read that note, it tells you to go confront Kaga about being a part of the Shadow Druids, and then you can either choose to kill Kaga and the Shadow Druids, or you can I would recommend convincing Kaga to leave the Shadow Druids, and then you guys kill the Shadow Druids, which is those dead bodies that you saw earlier, and then you talk to Zevlor, and Zevlor will give you these gloves that are really, really good for healers. The Ring of Protection, AC +1, saving throws +1. This ring is really, really good. And this is one of those items that's also pretty easily missable in Act 1. So I'm going to tell you exactly how to get it. So we are here in the underground hideout in the Emerald Grove. This is where the little kids are, little thief kids, okay? And how we get here is, first of all, I'm going to show you how to start the quest and finish the quest and all that kind of shit. So basically, you have to steal... if you played this game before, which I assume you probably have, there is an idol. There is like a shining super idol in the Emerald Grove, okay? And it's in the middle of here, right? The idol is here, okay? And you're probably going to see a lot of druids surrounding it. So that is the ritual that they're casting to basically shut off the Emerald Grove from all dangers. That is why the druids and the tieflings have beef, because the druids are kicking out the tieflings for this ritual to pass. So there's only druids here, so their people are safe. Okay, so that's why they're doing that. You're gonna see a lot of druids with their hands up, like fucking holy Allah or whatever, and they are praising this idol and doing their ritual or whatever. To get this ring, you have to steal that idol. All right, and if you normally try to do this, all the druids are going to attack you, and you have to go on a druid killing spree, right? Which you can do that. That is definitely probably the easiest and fastest way. But if you're a peacekeeper, if you're not trying to murder a bunch of most innocent people, this is how I would suggest doing it. So, the quest that I mentioned earlier, Investigate Kaga, that is very important to do it in a peaceful way. So, you want to finish that quest, you want to confront Kaga, you want to out Kaga, so now all the druids are like, man, maybe we don't have to do this ritual anymore, So, once you finish that quest and get the Hellrider gloves and talk to Zevlor, the druids will stop doing the ritual. So there'll be a lot less druids around it, a lot less eyes keeping an eye on the idol over here. And then what you're going to do after that is you're going to cast fog cloud or darkness around the idol, Okay, you're gonna pick up. It's actually very specific. You're gonna pick up a chest. All right, let me just show you how to do it. You're gonna put this. You're gonna pick up a chest or a barrel, anything that can hold items in it. You're gonna pick up a chest or a barrel. Okay, you're gonna place it right around here. Here's a good spot. Okay, you're gonna open the inventory. First of all, you're gonna enter turn-based mode. Then you're gonna cast darkness. All right, you're gonna cast darkness. I would click right here. It's actually pretty specific. Cast darkness or a fog cloud. Click right here, right in front of the idol. Okay, this will make it so no one can see you steal it. All right, but the thing is, if you take it outright, you'll get a dialogue. But if you have a chest, open the chest inventory while you have the darkness up. You're gonna drag the idol into here, like dragging a normal item into there, like that. Boom. Now it's inside the chest. Okay. While darkness is still up, pick up the chest, TP quickly over here or anywhere, just TP away, and then you'll have the idol inside the chest. And then you can give it to Maul. Okay. Now how you start this quest is over here at the beach, which again could be easily missable. Okay. Alfira's up here. Go over here. Keep going. Keep going, so that there's some blood spatters because you're going to get into a fight with some harpies. But there's basically going to be a child here, right? And if the child is dead, if there are no harpies or the child is dead over here, that means it is too late. That means you've taken too many long rests or you've progressed too much in the story, and you are not able to start the quest. But there will be a child here who will be being basically charmed by these harpies that I've already killed. You gotta defeat the harpies, talk to the child, and then the child will basically give you will put in a good word for you, and then they'll tell you how to get to the thief hideout. Back over here. Okay, you go inside that thief hideout that I showed you earlier. You talk to Maul, M-O-L, that is her name, and you want to keep Maul alive because she's pretty relevant throughout the whole story, and she'll give you the quest to steal the idol. And you're gonna steal the idol on exactly how I showed you. You're gonna complete the investigate Kaga quest first, so the druids stop doing the ritual, and then you're gonna cast darkness or fog cloud over the idol or around the idol. Have a chest or a barrel or any container. Drag the idol into that chest or container. Pick up the chest, TP away, and then go back to Maul and give her the idol, and you'll get this sweet, super good ring that is good for every single build in the game. The Hag Hair. Alright, so if you don't know, now you know. The Hag Hair gives you a permanent +1 bonus to any stat of your choice: Wisdom, Strength, Constitution, Dexterity, Intelligence, or Charisma. And how you get this is when you're in the Hag Den and she's about like 30 HP or less, you want to go and skip ahead to her turn. She's going to stop combat. She's going to give you the option to she'll trade you one of these permanent bonuses to take the girl. You can convince her to that you get both. You can get both the power and save the girl if you wanted to, if you make a very high DC persuasion check. But in any case, take the power. It's a +1 bonus to any stat, and this is very good because this allows you to start one of your characters with a 17 in a certain stat. And normally an odd number is wrong in D&D because you only really get bonuses for even numbers, but this allows you to bump it up even one, so you can turn that 17 stat into an 18 plus your ability score improvement at level 4 to have a max stat very early in the game. Super strong. Hag Hair, Hag Den, take the power. It's pretty damn good. Also, you can kill Hag later in the game anyway if you wanted to. Minthara, one of the bosses in the Goblin camp that the game will require you. Well, not require, but you have an option to kill her. And if you do, she's got some pretty good stuff on her. One, she has a Mind Flayer Parasite Specimen. Go and add that to your brain. 2, she's got the Spider Silk Armor. Go and give this to whoever your sneaky deaky person is in your party. If you got a rogue, you know what I'm saying. She also has this weapon where once per short rest you can. It's a free fairy fire. It's a free fairy fire on a target. So if you have that support character that doesn't really do damage in the group, but instead provides, you know, some kind of utility, go and give this to them. I definitely am going to give this to my healer in the group so they can give advantage for my teammates. And of course, finally, her best item, in my opinion, Minthara has, is the Boots of Smiting. When you cast a spell that requires concentration, you gain momentum, but that's not the good part of this of these boots. The good part is the second part. While you are concentrating, you can't get knocked prone or be moved against your will. If you've played this game, you know that you lose concentration when you get knocked prone, and it's pretty easy to get knocked prone in this game if you are a spellcaster, because you're not going to make those strength saves. You know what I'm saying? But these boots make it so you will never get knocked prone or get pushed, which is really, really good. And normally I leave these on my spellcasters for quite a long time until we get to end game. So Boots of Smiting, Spider Silk Armor, Mind Flare Specimen, and the Zeonide from Minthara. You can kill her in the Goblin Camp, you can kill her in front of the Emerald Grove, you can keep her alive and never get these items. The choice is yours. Dror Ragzlin, yeah. So this is one of the other Goblin bosses, and he comes with a nice little Warhammer here, which is versatile, but the reason why I like this Warhammer is because it comes with a certain special attack called Absolute Power, where it adds force damage, and you can push a target back. It's pretty good. And of course it's versatile, so you can wear a shield with this item and it still does a good amount of damage. And of course he comes with another Mind Flare Specimen and a little key that we can use to go up here and use back here and get even more goodies. And in the back room in Dror Ragzlin's vault, he comes with Selûne's Dream, which is an amulet with Selûne's Dream, which you can touch your ally to heal them, but they possibly fall asleep. I would not recommend using this, because if you put an ally to sleep, then what the hell is the point in healing them? Okay? But it also comes with an Infernal Iron, which is pivotal to Karlach's story, and there aren't too many of these running around, so these are kind of nice. And of course, if you're not doing Karlach's story, they're worth quite a bit of gold too. Look at that, it's worth like 100 gold. He also comes with the Gloves of the Growling Underdog. The wearer gains advantage on melee attack rolls while surrounded by 2 or more foes, and if you're playing melee in this game, you're probably going to be surrounded by 2 or more foes, so pretty good to get some easy advantage here on your melee characters. And of course, the last thing he comes with are the Spring Step Boots. When the wearer dashes or takes a similar action during combat, they gain momentum, and momentum gives you just some extra movement speed. So pretty decent items at Dror Ragzlin. Wapira's Crown. When healing another, the wearer gains 1 to 6 hit points. It's a nice little, small little healing helm. You could find this if you are able to save the grove from the goblins, okay? Either Zevlor, or if he dies, one of the tieflings will give this to you in a bag full of 5 items, and this will be one of the 5 items. And also, to follow that up with, if you save the grove, and I believe if you followed it up with Halsin, you can also murder one of the druids to get this as well. But this glaive can be found, this sorrow plus 1. The reason why, first of all, the reason why I like this weapon is because it is a +1, of course, but it comes with a bonus action, and a lot of times your melee characters will not have a bonus action to do stuff, and this bonus action is pretty damn good because it pulls the creature closer to you, and if you're using this, you're probably going to be a melee person anyway, so it's pretty damn good. And you can find the sorrow right here in the druid treasure enclave prize place after, again, if you follow up with Halsin, or if you again murder one of the druids to be able to get the rune. You're gonna this room that you talk to Nettie in, you're gonna see 4 little things here. This one's gonna be empty. One of the druids will give you the final tablet, and then you light them all up. You go inside the stairs, and there you have the druid goodies for you, the hidden vault. The Poisoner's Robe. If the wearer casts a spell that deals poison damage, it deals an additional 1 to 4 poison damage. This is normally a bad item on its own, but I actually found it's a pretty good combo with the Staff of Crones, and this is the staff that you can get at the Hag Lair. It's in her back room. Just pick it up. You can cast Ray of Sickness every short rest, which does pretty decent damage, and on top of that, it doesn't cost a spell slot, and with this robe, it does even more damage. So give it to your Staff of Crones person that you have, and also, so we can get this at the Spider Den. at the bottom of Blighted Village. You can get here through the well, through the cellar. There's multiple ways to get down here. And you can get this robe at the big spider that we just killed up here, okay, the Phase Spider Matriarch. But more importantly, you could find the Dark Amethyst. This Dark Amethyst, what is it used for? It's used for opening the Necromancy of Thay. Okay, you got to make 3 checks. They're either wisdom or intelligence checks. I forgot, but you got to make 3 checks, and then again, if you didn't see earlier in this video, the Necromancy of Thay can be taken all the way into Act 3 to give you a, I believe, level 5 conjuration spell to summon 4 ghouls to fight at your side every long rest. So it takes a little while to get it going, but it eventually works. And to open it, again, you get a Dark Amethyst from the Spider Den underneath Blighted Village. The Phalar Aluve, this is a +1 weapon. It also gives you +1 performance, and it comes, more importantly, it comes with the Phalar Aluve Melody. Now, if you don't know what this is, it refreshes off of a short rest, and what it does is you can either cast a Bless Aura. Bless gives 1d4 bonus to your attack rolls and saving throws, or you can use it to cast a Damage Aura. I believe all your attacks, additional damage gets added, an additional 1d4 dice, which I think is the more useful one, to be honest, because if you're casting Bless, you kind of have to be a little close. So I would recommend using the Damage Aura on your probably Swords Bard character, or whatever melee characters have an open hand slot. This is a very good weapon for doing a little bit of extra damage. And they can be found in the Underdark, of course, near the Selenite Outpost. You're going to go up, turn left. It's going to be in this rock, kind of like an Excalibur kind of thing, and you have to either make a strength check or a religion check or some kind of intelligence check, I believe. You pass one of those checks, you pull it out, and there you go. You have the Phalar Aluve, one of the best early game items, to be honest. The Abyss Beckoners Demon Spirit Aura. The wearer summoned creature has resistance to all damage except psychic damage. At the start of the summoned creature's turn, it must succeed a wisdom saving throw or be driven mad. So these are very double-edged sword gloves, but these are also very missable gloves, and that's why I'm including them in this video. If you are a summoner build, this will make your summons super tanky. Having resistance to everything except for psychic is pretty damn good, but of course the latter part of these gloves is kind of risky. But if you want to keep it spicy, you can get these gloves at the Zhentarim hideout. Again, this is an easy missable place. This can be found to the left of the burning building in the north of Act 1. When you get your little electric lightning weapon, you know what I'm saying? You go down, you find the little hideout, you go up here, and behind this door, where you're gonna want to lockpick it either in invis or whenever this dude over here isn't looking. It's inside this chest over here, and you can find these gloves made for summoners, baby. Blurg, the Hobgoblin Vendor in the Underdark. First of all, let me show you where I'm at real quick before we do anything. Show the items. Underdark, my Myconid Colony. As soon as you get the waypoint, you're gonna turn right. You're gonna meet up with Blurg, okay? And he sells some pretty damn good items. So let's go over them. The Boots of Genial Striding. The wearer's movement speed is unimpeded by difficult terrain. There are going to be quite a few points in the game where someone's going to cast Web, someone's going to cast Entangle, or whatever against you, Hunger of Hadar, whatever you call it. And difficult terrain means half movement speed, and you basically you never want that, because it makes fighting really, really hard, especially if you're a melee character. So get these boots. If you have a non-mobile character, you know what I'm saying? He also has a Circuit of Blasting. This is a Scorching Ray helm. It's just a free cast of Scorching Ray, and this early in the game, spellcasters have very limited amount of spell slots, so having extra spells, especially ones that do damage, is pretty useful in the early game, okay? He also sells the Baneful. This is a short sword. It can be dual-wielded, and the reason why I like this weapon is, of course, it's a +1 weapon, but it can be +2 if you are an Eldritch Knight or a Warlock, because an Eldritch Knight can make it a weapon pact, or as a Warlock you can do the same thing, and then you get additional things on it, and on top of all that, if you hit the target, they have a possibility to get baned, which gives the target a penalty to their attack rolls and their saving throws. So if you're running a dual wielder or someone that likes using short swords, the Baneful is a very, very strong weapon early game, okay? And of course, he sells some pretty damn good spells. Ice Storm is good. Feign Death. I might as well mention this right now real quick. Feign Death plus Sanctuary. If you're trying to keep an NPC alive, for example, Isabella, Jaheira, the night song, little spoiler there. If you want to keep them alive, the best combo to do that is to put their ass to sleep, because the AI is very stupid in this game, and then to cast Sanctuary on them. You do that, they can only be hit by AoE spells, and that they'll most likely be just fine, okay? Because your team is probably going to be strong enough to keep them alive anyway. But that's probably for a separate video, but I feel like I should have mentioned it because I came across this scroll. Okay, Glyph of Warding is also pretty strong. Stinking Cloud, solid as well. All right, and these scrolls, by the way, scrolls and potions, they restock every long rest. So if you're trying to stock up on scrolls or potions and whatever, make sure you find that vendor, you take that long rest, and you take advantage of that fact. All right. This guy also sells the Psychic Spark. This is really strong, super strong. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, there are actually some builds that use this, because it's basically a free upcast on your Magic Missile. Shoot an additional dart whenever you cast Magic Missile. So when you cast it at level 1, it acts as level 2. When you cast it at level 2, it acts as level 3. And when you cast Magic Missile at level 6, that is basically 8 or 9 missiles going at your opponent. And of course, you can stack damage on top of that. It can get pretty crazy, you know. I'm sure if you look around on YouTube, you guys can find some Magic Missile builds. But this, even if you're not playing a Magic Missile build, this on your spellcaster, if they have Magic Missile, and they definitely should they'll be using this for quite a while, let me tell you, okay? What else does this guy have? Oh, Descender Shoes as well. There are definitely some builds that only use fire. Whenever you burn an enemy, you gain 2 turns of heat. Heat is basically a status that you inflict on yourself. And most of the time, when you do heat builds, you want to use that heat in the same turn or as fast as possible, because that damage can add up and kind of kill your character. I was running a fire sorcerer, and it was a heat build, and I was basically the only damage that was being dealt to me was a damage that I was dealing to myself, and I died every combat. Okay, so you want to be using your heat convergence. When you gain heat, it can convert it with this passive ability. You can toggle it in your action bar. And it basically just gives you an extra points of fire damage. Any extra point of damage, especially this early, is pretty solid. Okay. What else has he got? Dark Vision Ring. You know, just in case you ain't got one of your party members. Not every race in this game has Dark Vision, so this is a pretty solid ring for that. He also sells a Lightning Charges Helm. If you got one of those characters running a full lightning build, they definitely want to be running this. They gain 3 temporary hit points, which is pretty solid. You know what I mean? This is definitely probably one of the best weapons this guy sells. Melf's First Staff. You gain +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, and it comes with a free spell, Melf's Acid Arrow. And from what I understand, so this spell deals damage on the hit and on the enemy's turn. And I believe when you are encased in acid, your AC also gets lowered by 2. So this staff has damage. It comes with DC. It's the go-to spellcasting staff early, and I 100% recommend this if you're running a spellcaster in your party. And that's Blurg the Vendor. Derryth Bonecloak, the other vendor at the Myconid Underdark colony. This is the first vendor I showed you over here. Okay. And then you're just going to go a little further downwards. The first vendor was over here. Go a little left. It's super near the town. You can't miss it. And she has a few good items as well. Bang, bang. She has the Amulet of Restoration. This is probably going to be your best in slot amulet for quite a while on your healer. It just comes with a free healing word and a free mass healing word. Okay, it does not cost a spell slot. Again, items with spells on them are pretty damn good in this game. And you won't be replacing this unless you have the Periaptive Wound Closure or the Amulet of Health, which are items that you get later in the game. But this is definitely a pretty damn good slot holder for the amulet spot on your healer. Okay. What are some other items? The Ring of Jumping. So a lot of times early game, some of your characters are not going to have a bonus action. This costs a bonus action. So you can literally give them, you can triple their jumping distance for your immobile characters. So if they don't have a bonus action, you can give them a free one with this. And I believe it refreshes off of a short rest. It does. So it's pretty damn good ring, pretty useful, and it's super cheap. And the last thing I want to mention is the Caustic Band. You probably know of this one. Your weapon attacks also deal additional damage. It's just additional damage. Any type of additional damage is super good in this game because damage stacks. A lot of your characters probably attack more than once a turn. This means it's gonna just deal even more damage. And there are very few things in this game that are resistant to acid damage. Okay, so that's Derryth Bonecloak, the second Underdark Myconid vendor. Enjoy. Gloves of Uninhibited Kushigo. The wearer deals additional 1d4 damage with throw attacks and attacks made with improvised weapons. This weapon is most likely going to be used in a throwing build, most likely a throw barbarian build. If you guys haven't checked it out, I have a video on that whole build. It fucking slaps, by the way. Okay, this stacks on top of the Ring of Flinging that I showed you earlier, and it's best in slot. It is best in slot for that throwing build, and you can get this super early in the game. We're still in the Underdark. The vendor that I just told you guys about, she gives you a quest to go find her husband. You gotta save her husband, go around the corner, save him from the field, get his bag, give him a Misty Step scroll, however you want to do it, and make sure also there is a legendary mushroom that you want to pick up on the top right of this area as well over here, okay? Because that can do something else in the game that I'm just about to show you in a second. But these gloves can be obtained through saving the Mushroom Lady's quest, and they're best in slot for the throwing build, baby. The Sussur Tree Bark, and can be found right here in the Underdark. We're still right here. Here's the mushroom field. You go a little bit downwards, bang. It's in the middle of this tree here, and this can be used for the Finish the Masterwork weapon. If you see that quest in your quest line here, you press J, bang, got the Sussur Bark. So this can be made into Sussur Weapons. I believe you need Sussur Bark, and you need a plain greatsword, sickle, or a dagger. Okay. And you take this Sussur Tree Bark to the Blighted Village, and underneath Blighted Village is a little forge, not as big as the Adamantine Forge. It's a little smaller, but it's a forge nonetheless. And basically, you use this bark to turn the fire into blue fire. You combine the blue fire with a plain greatsword, a plain sickle, or a plain dagger, and you create Sussur Weapons. Now, personally, I don't really use Sussur Weapons. What they do is whenever you successfully hit with a Sussur weapon, it silences the enemy, so it's obviously super good against mages. But for me, I like damage. I like pure damage. I think the best defense is a good offense, but if you want to play around and get some silencing weapons, you can use a Sussur Tree Bark over here at the Underdark. The Blood Guzzler Garb. Grievous Retribution. When an enemy damages the wearer gains Wrath for 1 turn. Wrath basically just gives you extra melee damage, okay? And if you're running a pure monk or a pure barbarian that you don't want to put armor on because you want to get the unarmored benefits, then this is a pretty decent early game clothing, and it can be found in the Underdark. Of course, we are over here. But more importantly, this is not really a location type of item. This is more of a monster kind of item. You see this bullet over here. You probably ran into this bullet before, and it's kind of hard to kill. So you're probably going to want to cast, some CC spells to keep it on ground surface, because the problem with this fight against this bullet is it burrows away a lot, and you kind of have to keep finding it. So I would suggest either having high damage, having a stunning spell, something like that, and you want to make sure you want to kill this bullet in 1 turn pretty much. But luckily in this game, you can make some pretty strong character builds, and that's super possible. Okay, so again, the Blood Guzzler Garb, good for monks, good for barbarians that want to keep that unarmored pure style about them, and it can be found on the bullet in the Underdark. The Exterminator's Axe, Scourge of Pest, deals an additional 1 to 6 fire damage to plants, insects, or small creatures. This great axe can be found here at the Underdark Beach when you go ahead and kill the Duergar over here, if you choose to kill them. The main guy, Get Cole. And you of course you want to try to kill him before he raises the dead and summons like 10 creatures. And he comes with this pretty good great axe and the Duergar Antidote. So this can be used part of the quest line to save the deep gnomes here. Okay, I believe it's the Iron Hands Deep Gnomes, which goes further into the Underdark Grimforge, but you could take this to the gnome back at the Myconid colony, give her the antidote, and then she'll give you the boots. Go to the Underdark Grimforge and continue that quest, and later on in the video I will show you what items you get in that area. The Boots of Speed. Click Heals, which is a bonus action by the way. Click the heels of your boots to gain speed and freedom of movement. Your movement speed doubles and enemies have disadvantage on opportunity attacks against you. And of course, freedom of movement, if you don't know, means you can't be restrained or paralyzed, which is pretty damn strong. And you can get these boots off of, again, we are at the Underdark Myconid colony. I see this little gnome. Okay. The antidote that I just showed y'all, you want to give this to her and she will give you the boots, and of course you want to continue the quest line because you can get more cool stuff, and we'll show that in a little bit. The Short Sword of First Blood deals an additional 1 to 8 piercing damage to targets that still have all their hit points. This item is pretty good on your assassin characters, on your sneaky deaky roguelike thief characters. Okay, an additional 1 to 8 is 5 damage on average, and that's pretty damn good. Especially this early, and this can be found in the Underdark, of course, near the Underdark Beach teleport, near the Duergar that you've slain. You go a little east, you climb up this ladder real quick, where you can also find the Crooked Wand of Fireballs, by the way, one use, and you find it off of his dead gnome. Boom, the Short Sword of First Blood. Winter's Clutches. When the wearer deals cold damage, inflict 2 turns of Encrusted with Frost upon targets. Encrusted with Frost applies a disadvantage on dexterity saving throws to them, so it's easier to land AoE damage spells on them. And when there are 7 or more turns remaining with Encrusted with Frost, the entity must succeed a Constitution saving throw or take 1 to 4 cold damage and become frozen. On a successful save, it only takes half damage. Afterward, the frost sloughs away, removed by burning. And frozen, what does frozen do? The affected entity is utterly enameled in ice and is incapacitated. If it is dealt bludgeoning, thunder, or force damage, the ice shatters and into condition. Incapacitated, let's go even further, okay? It doesn't tell us, but incapacitated basically means they can't do shit, okay? They can't do anything, being frozen. I'm not entirely sure if you auto crit against them with attacks, but definitely they can't do anything as long as they're frozen, all right? And it's not even that hard. If you're running a pure cold build, it's not even that hard to freeze things, okay? And there are actually quite a few cold items in this game, which I will show a little bit later in the guide, by the way. And these gloves are easily missable. These can be obtained by basically changing the leader, okay? So this guy, Silverin Spa, he is the normal leader of the Silverains here at the Myconid colony. If you run across this big dude right here, this guy, he's gonna ask you, he's gonna help you kill the Duergars, okay, if you choose to help. And then he's gonna ask you, hey, by the way, I'm the true leader of the Silverains, and you kill the leader for me so I can become the true leader again. All right, and if you do that, you will get better rewards. So I suggest doing that. And during the fight, you're going to see a lot of enemies on the side, but all you got to do is kill the main guy, the Silverain Spa. The battle ends. This guy becomes new leader, and you can still access all the vendors and whatnot in the area. All right. Winter's Clutches, Myconid colony. Change the leader, kill the main guy, and he will get better rewards. And the rewards I will show you later in this video. The Blast Pendant comes with Lightning Blast. This is obviously, by now you should probably have a character that thrives with the lightning charges. Okay, if you're using one of the lightning weapons from the earlier quest that you could do in Act 1, Lightning Blast forces the electricity in your veins to strengthen your next lightning spell or cantrip. Your next lightning spell or cantrip deals additional lightning damage equal to your remaining lightning charges. So it's just a nice little bit, most likely for your spellcaster, because it only works with spells or cantrips. But if they have an open pendant slot and they're using the Spell Sparkler, why not use this for a little bit more lightning damage? And of course, this doesn't cost a bonus action, so you can add that on top of your lightning spell. And also, this dead drow over here has this memory shard. This pretty much is just another way to figure out about the Adamantine Forge. So there's that, but more importantly, they hold the Icy Helve. The Icy Helve can be combined to make a cold weapon, which I will show in a little bit. To make pretty damn good cold weapon for spellcasters. If you are a cold type spellcaster in this game, you're going to combine the Icy Crystal, the Icy Metal, and the Icy Helve. The Helve can be found again against the Dorn at right next to the Selûne outpost. You're going to have to fight a Beholder here, okay? And what I would suggest is I would wait till the Beholder unpetrifies the stone creatures and then kill the Beholder, because they do hold some items, much like this guy who holds the most important items. And you could find the Icy Crystal. Well, you could find the Icy Helve and the Icy Crystal, these two here. And both of them, one of them is over here at the Underdark Sussur Tree waypoint. You're going to find a mage that's carrying a staff that has one of these items over here. And then the other one is at the Myconid Colony. When you tell the Sovereign that you defeated the Duragars, they will reward you with the back room or the key to their treasure or whatever, and you'll find the one of the parts of this weapon on that in that room. And then so let's go ahead and combine them so I can show you guys what the weapon is. It's pretty good. Combine, bang bang. In the Morning Frost, when dealing cold damage, the wielder of these deals an additional cold damage, so just cold damage on top of your cold damage, and then dealing cold damage with a spell possibly inflicts chilled upon the target. What does chilled do? The affected entity is vulnerable to cold damage and resistant to fire damage. So of course the resistance to fire damage doesn't really matter, okay? But they are vulnerable to your cold damage, so you don't have to spend a turn casting, or throwing a water bottle or casting Create Water on them, which is also another way to make enemies vulnerable to cold damage and lightning damage, of course. Possibility of dealing double damage, because when enemies are vulnerable, they take double damage from your attacks. And of course, it comes with Ray of Frost, which is a nice little cold spell. Unfortunately, it costs an action, so you're probably better off using a real spell in that case. But yeah, this is a pretty good ice weapon that you can go to. Okay, there is a better one in Act 3, but until then, using this, why not? The Sparks Wall, the wearer can't be electrocuted, grants resistance to lightning damage. So this may not seem like a good ring, but this is a really good ring if you are, again, doing the lightning build. Okay, there are the boots that I showed earlier, that if you're standing on a watery surface, you get lightning charges. You put on if you put on this ring, that means you will not be, negatively affected by that, and you should become a full-ass lightning god in early game. It's kind of crazy, actually. I definitely recommend using the Spell Sparkler as a spellcaster early, especially for Eldritch Blasters. This shit can go pretty nuts, okay? And of course, what's also nearby here is the Staff of Arcane Blessing, and in my opinion, I think this is best in slot for any support character. And the reason why is because it comes with Bless, which is really cool, but obviously Bless is a very common spell. The cool thing about this staff is when you cast Bless, it kind of casts another Bless on top of that, called Mistress Blessing. Bless grants an additional 1d4 to saving throws and weapon attack rolls, and an additional to spell attack rolls. So again, really good with an Eldritch Blaster. So you're going to use, once you equip Staff of Arcane Blessing, if you bless your pupils, they will get Bless on top of this Bless. And a good thing about this is you can concentrate on another spell, and this Bless will still stay on your teammates. That's the best thing about it. Actually, let me just go and show y'all real quick, just so y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. So we're going to go ahead and equip this. Bang. You know what I'm saying? Do this real quick. We're gonna go and cast Bless. Let's do it on everyone so we can make sure. Okay, boom. You see that? Bless and Mistress Blessing. Now let's go ahead and concentrate on another spell. Let's go and do Enhance Ability, advantage on intelligence checks on our boy Gil here. So boom, the original Bless goes away, but as you can see, the Mistress Blessing stays. So it's kind of like a perma Bless. By the way, you can get permanent Bless in Act 3, which you'll probably want to watch my Act 3 video for that. But yes, this item is very, very good and best in slot. One of the best in slots for sure for your support character. To find these two items, the Lightning Ring and the Staff of Arcane Blessing, we are at the Arcane Tower over here. Okay, we are still in the Underdark. The Arcane Tower is in the bottom left. You can go either left of the Underdark Selenite Outpost or south from the Underdark Beach Outpost. You might have to run into some enemies here and there, okay? And by the way, you're going to run into some Arcane Towers that deal quite a bit of damage, okay? And to turn off, an easy way to turn off those arcane towers guarding this, sorry, I should call them arcane turrets. To turn off those arcane turrets guarding this arcane tower, you want to pick up the Sussur Bloom tree flowers over here at the Sussur tree. You're going to pick up like 4 of them because there are 4 arcane turrets, and all you're going to do is you're going to drop one of those things near the turrets, and they get turned off. It's that easy, and plus you get a little bit of XP from it too. But once you make your way here, make sure you read all the books here at the Arcane Tower, because there's going to be a little, not a puzzle, but a little bit of a riddle up top on the top floor. This Bernard dude is going to ask you some questions. If you read the book, then you're just going to choose the first answer twice, and then he'll give you this ring on this table. He'll drop the ring on this table. It's called the Guiding Light Ring, which looks like a legendary ring, but it only has light on it. But the reason why it's legendary is it reveals another button right here. When I put this ring on, boom, it reveals a button where we can go to the basement. Let me make sure everyone's on the thing to go there. We go to the basement, and the basement is where you could find, again, the lightning ring and the Staff of Arcane Blessing. Alright, Arcane Tower, Underdark. Disintegrating Nightwalkers can't be enwebbed, entangled, or ensnared, and can't slip on grease or ice, and it comes with Misty Step, which refreshes on a short rest. These boots, honestly, you can wear these boots. As soon as you get these, you can put them on any character and use them the whole game. Pretty much. They're good, they're mobile, they come with a cool, they're legendary, right? You get it off of near. The drow that you deal with in the Underdark, okay? You can either let them die behind the poison. I would recommend, breaking the wall and just dealing with the crew, because that way you save more lives in that sense, you know what I'm saying? Again, when you're in the Grimforge, when you're down here, be careful about taking a long rest, because when you take a long rest throughout the game, certain quests get they get expedited. They get fast forwarded, and some quests are not available. So again, be careful about taking a long rest. I have not taken a long rest yet. I'm about to take a short one though. Bang bang like that. But near, great stuff. Disintegrating Nightwalkers, good on any build. The Protecty Sparks Wall. You gain +1 bonus to spell save DC. The wearer has +1 bonus to armor class and saving throws as long as they have lightning charges. Again, this is probably your final piece if you're running one of those lightning spellcasters, and this is very solid. I mean, just the +1 spell save DC is good enough anyway, until you get, some really good items later on in the game. So, and this can be found over here, Underdark Grimforge. And you probably recognize this bridge. It's a bunch of traps. It's just a bunch of traps. I'd recommend, first you need 2 things. You need a character that can get over here with fly or jump, okay? Or can Misty Step or Dimension Door their ass over here. And you want to make sure you have turn-based mode on, because these things will keep pushing you back over and over and over, okay? Also, this door cannot be lockpicked. I don't know why they did that. It's cruel. But it can be knocked. You can knock it, okay? You can knock it, and then you could open it. And then there's also an Idol of Shar here if you're doing the Shadowheart quest, which is not needed, to be honest, but you can do that. It also sells for 400 gold. Pretty nice. But it is in this chest, the Protecty Sparks Wall. The Fire Stoker deals an additional 1 to 4 piercing damage to burning targets. This is one of your go-to hand crossbows early game if you're doing a dual hand crossbow build. This can be found, it's kind of tricky. It can be found in the Underdark Grimforge, okay? You're going to want to just explore around. This is the exact location. This is the waypoint. Just keep climbing. I will say, I think it's on the upper level. The way you get here is through the upper level. And just keep trying to look for it. This is the location, and this is the hand crossbow. You'll be using this for a while until you find a near misser, or until you find the Hellfire hand crossbow, which will be, you can look those up in my other videos for Act 2 and Act 3. Alright? Wondrous Glove, your armor class increases by 1. In addition, if you have Bardic Inspiration, you gain 1 more use of it. This is pretty good on bards, or of course the bard handbow, double hand rail cross video that I showed you guys. And this can be found at Underdark Grimforge. Here's the waypoint. You go a little left, west, you go downwards here. You're gonna find some mimics, okay? And you're gonna beat them up, and one of them has these gloves. The real Sparky Spark Swall. I think this is the last lightning charge damage build item I'm going to show you guys. Okay, this gives lightning aura. What does lightning aura do? You activate it, consumes 3 lightning charges, and it creates an aura that does 1d6 lightning damage around nearby enemies. Okay, it's a deck save. You can get it after a long rest, and with this item, I believe you can complete a whole last spellcaster lightning build if you want to, and they hit pretty hard, let me tell you. And you can get this Underdark Grimforge. Just keep searching around, go to the left side and keep climbing down some stuff, some cragged rocks or whatnot. You'll find it eventually. All right, where is it? Where is that going? Oh yeah, so that's how you get the real Sparky Sparks Wall. Grimskull Helm, Adamantine Split Armor, and Adamantine Scale Mail. These are really, really good pieces of gear. And if you don't know, this is at the Adamantine Forge, Underdark Ancient Forge. Okay, you put the little, there are 2 Mithril ores in total, from what I understand. You put the Mithril ore in here, you put the mold in here. There are other molds. There's like a longsword mold, a scimitar mold, and other stuff, but in my opinion, the weapons, they kind of suck. But the really good ones are the heavy armor and the medium armor. I normally make these every time I do my playthroughs because they're really, really strong. Let's go and go over them. This is a heavy armor, the split armor. All incoming damage is reduced by 2. Crazy. When a melee attack hits you, the attacker is sent reeling, and reeling gives them a penalty to their attack rolls. So because it's 3 turns, they get -3 to their attack rolls if they hit you. Okay? You do get disadvantage on stealth checks, which doesn't really matter for your heavy armor characters, most likely. And you can't get crit. Like, seriously, this may not be the best, like best in slot, but you could pretty much wear this throughout the whole game and finish it. You know what I'm saying? This armor is that good. Alright? And the same thing for the medium armor. It has the same stuff. The stats are a little bit less, but it's medium. So I normally give this to my melee person, whoever the barbarian is. They can have this. It's really, really good. And of course, the helmet can be found off of the big robot guy, Grim, over here. And the helmet is also a heavy armor. I just give it the same person, who wears the heavy armor for that one. And it grants resistance to fire damage and comes with a little hunter's mark, which doesn't really matter if you're a heavy armor person, most likely. But yes, Adamantine Forge, I suggest crafting the splint armor and the scale mail armor, the heavy and medium. They're very, very good, and you can use them throughout the whole game and be totally fine. The Sentient Amulet. This is a monkey amulet. It comes with Shatter, a level 2 evocation spell which damages all nearby creatures. So if monks normally don't have AoE, this will give you that. Okay. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Key Restoration. Use your spiritual energy and amulet. You restore 2 key points and use it as an action. And with monks, for monks, your most important action is actually a bonus action. So using an action to gain 2 key points to do more flurry of blows is normally a good thing. So as far as monks go, I mean, there is no amulet that really gets better than this. If you need some mobility, then you could use, of course, the Amulet of Misty Step. But for me, if you're going for that full monk theme, it doesn't get any better than this. This can be found at the Underdark Forge. Okay, we're right here, Adamantine Forge. Before you put the forge down, you're gonna go a little bit left. Okay, here's the waypoint. You can go over here. You gotta fight a little lava elemental along the way, where I would recommend you bait it over here because it heals off of lava. So you don't want to fight it in lava. Okay, and also the thing, you gotta make some checks. You gotta make some wisdom checks, I believe, with this amulet. There is a follow-up quest for this amulet, and you can give it to a person later in the game. But the reward is a level 1 spell called Tasha's Hideous Laughter, which I don't think is worth it. So if you have a monk in your party, I would recommend just keeping this amulet and using it for the whole time. The Ring of Mind Shielding. You have advantage on saving throws against getting charmed. This can be found at the Blurg vendor over here. I don't know where the fuck he at. Where is he? Oh, he's right here. Okay. And if you do a little dialogue with him, this little mind flare will appear. This mind flare will give you a quest to go find some stuff. The stuff can be found at the Arcane Tower. Just loot, make sure you loot everything, read every book, loot everything at the Arcane Tower, okay? You give him the stuff. You do have to do a few checks, okay? And then he will grant you, first of all, he gives you one of these. He gives you a random Mind Flare power. Infuse a creature with psionic force. If it reaches 0 hit points, it heals instead of falling unconscious. Think of it as I guess a better death ward, okay? And the Ring of Mind Shielding. And early game in Act 1, there aren't too many rings available that are actually useful. But as far as usefulness goes, this is definitely one of the more useful rings in Act 1. There are 100% better rings in Act 2 and Act 3, but for Act 1, this is pretty much as good as it gets. And for the last item in Act 1, I almost forgot as I was editing the video. I forgot about it. The Warped Headband of Intellect. Set the wearer's intelligence to 17, no matter what. The enchantment has no effect. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, this is a good helmet for just making intelligence checks. There are certain intelligence checks in the game that are pretty important to make, especially the mirror in Act 3 without giving too many spoilers. But you can get this off of the Lumps Warhorn that I showed you earlier in the video. We talked about a helmet. This is the same shack that you can find them in. Blighted Village, same place. I didn't really use them during battle because they're kind of assholes and they kind of hit allies too. So I like to summon them and just kill their ass and then get their helmet because the helmet is really, really good. Okay? And there you have it, y'all. The best items that you can get in Act 1 for all types of builds. Now, before we end this video, I just want to say I'm fully aware of the Silver Sword Githyanki sword that you can get at the Githyanki people with the dragon. Okay, I'm fully aware of that. But for me, you know, games like this are all about progression. And if you start off with a sword like that one, a legendary sword, a +3 legendary sword in Act 1, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of item progression. So I will include that sword in the Act 3 video that I plan to make. Okay. So yeah, I just want y'all to know that I'm aware of that whole disarming or command drop at the Kithrak Voss guy. I'm fully aware of that. Alright. Okay. But also, I say that to say this. If I did miss an item, because, you know, you can only do so much in these playthroughs, if I did miss an item that you guys felt that should have belonged on this list, then feel free to put it in the comments. You know what I mean? Feel free to share the knowledge. You know, I definitely don't. I feel like I know a good bit about this game, but I 100% have missed something here and there. You know what I mean? So I'll leave that up to y'all to fill in the blanks. But for the most part, I feel like I got a good gist and a good majority of the good items that can enable builds and just be pretty super useful for any playthrough. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I appreciate y'all watching. And of course, the Act 2 video is probably going to be coming pretty soon. If not, it's out already. And we'll be doing it for all the acts. All right? With that being said, thanks for watching, y'all. I appreciate it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, algorithm stuff, and I'll see y'all in the next video. All right? Peace.